Welcome back to the Violent Life Podcast. I'm Lucas O, MMA, and I'm here with brown belt Jordan Breslaur. We are going to break down the UFC Serbia card, and we are going to predict the upcoming Quillen Salkilld versus Matus Gamrot card. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Olivia Bassus, who just had her second fight on One Championship. She knocked her opponent out in the second round, and it was sick. Very, very bright future. 16 years old, and I'm very much looking forward to see what happens next for her. Moving on to our first fight on UFC Serbia. Stephanie Luciano against Marina Spasic. This was a great fight to start the card, Jordan.
Yeah, man. I mean, the whole card. You just had like the most first round finishes ever on a card. And Serbia is like so interesting. If you follow basketball and European basketball, Partizan Belgrade, it's nuts when you go to their home games. And I felt like they had that type of atmosphere for this card. But it's really funny when their fighters lost, they got quiet. And that's kind of what happened here. I mean, Spasic was, kickboxing background. Luciano, as soon as it went to the ground, it was no contest. And pretty quick finish.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted on the feet, and then as soon as they got it to the ground, she was able to get the rear naked choke, and it was like a minute and a half into the fight, first round.
Yeah,
Great.
super straightforward, and I think it kind of set that tone going in, which was also this fun that they just got so excited, but as soon as the fighters lost, it got so quiet. I've also never heard a crowd chant their fighters' names more. That was like half their chants. Was just chanting their fighters' names.
Yeah. That was it added a lot of fun to it. I was expecting the crowd to play a big part in this, and it delivered.
Yeah, she's super aggressive. I feel like, one of the things that was just really interesting is as she really set the pace, and I feel like that is her MO. If she's able to set the pace, she's actually pretty talented, but when she gets the pace dictated against her, she's had some trouble. So she's a good, emerging player here. I'm wondering what's next for her, but it's probably still one of these early prelim cards spots for the foreseeable future.
Hey, if she keeps performing like that, I think it's a great spot for her. Great way to open the card. It causes the excitement, very, very a fun performance from Stephanie Luciano.
Yeah.
Moving on to Jovan Leka, I hope I said that right, against Alexander Popek. This one was, two big guys, heavyweight division. It's funny because I got a lot of family from Munich, Germany. So seeing Popek, representing Munich and knowing what was about to happen was a little sad. But, I was rooting for Jovan overall, and that's, exactly how it played out.
Yeah, I thought Jovan moves pretty good for a heavyweight. He kind of set up that big shot, and there was a lot of good footwork that led up to that point. So he's got a good record. Heavyweight is super thin. You're pretty much in the top 15 with 2 or 3 impressive wins. Probably gonna get close there. I actually think relative to a lot of heavyweights, even though he's a big guy, he doesn't look unathletic.
Yeah, right. It's funny how at heavyweight, the body style does not always, match the image correctly. Like
you could be
you don't know what to
athletic, but you could be athletic but just super big. You could also be smaller but more plodding. It's kind of funny like that. I mean, even we'll talk about it later on, but Rocket moving up to heavyweight obviously looks fantastic. Looks like a athletic guy, but really he just did not move well there. He did not look almost as fast in some way as Jovan did earlier in the card.
Yeah. I mean, and especially with the size difference.
Yeah.
But We will get into that. On to Nina Milosevic versus Haley Cohen. It's funny because I was during the walkouts. My girlfriend was walking around and she doesn't care at all about this stuff. But I was like, "Oh, Haley's about to get knocked the fuck out," and that's exactly.
Sure enough.
No, not exactly.
You had another body shot knockout. This was a legit body shot knockout.
Yeah.
The other ones kind of set it up. This was two liver shots, and she just shut down. Like, Cowan didn't look bad for a moment, but yeah. Nina is impressive. I don't know. Haley kind of was like the perfect intro for her, kind of setting it up. Maybe this girl's special. You got to see it a little bit more. But she's definitely big, which is impressive for the weight class.
Yeah, man. And really quick finish. This was 1 minute and 19 seconds it took her to get that finish. That's awesome, man. Awesome. And then I actually was driving back from the grocery store, so I just caught the tail end of this one. But Matus Rebecki and Kyle Prepolek. I was bummed, man. Rebecki's always fun. I never want to miss him fight. Prepolek has been relatively new, has put up some fun fights, but this was Rebecki's day.
Yeah, Prepolek, he had a really weird fight, if I remember, against, I think it was Drew Dober.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And then I feel like he was winning that fight, and then had the groin shot from hell, which honestly, I mean, he maybe was down for like 4.5 minutes before getting up right beforehand, and then Drew knocked him out after having a point deduction. But Rebecki he really is one of the most fun fighters, and he's had a tough go of it. If you look at some of who he's fought, I mean, he fought Orabai, who he beat, one of the greatest fights I think that was one of the fights of the year. I want to say back in 2024. And then he had that amazing fight against Ludwig Klein. If he had just gotten up, he would have won the fight. But he didn't realize that Klein had broken his ankle or broken part of his leg. And then he had a crazy fight against Chris Duncan. So he's had all these. I mean, as you go through all those names, those are all pretty tough names. The only name that doesn't shake up to that is Prepolek. He's just not on the same level. And now that they finally gave Rebecki kind of an easier fight, he made good on that. And yeah, I mean, thankfully he got this win so that the UFC isn't cut him. Definitely should be sticking around. He feels like just somebody, as long as the chin holds up, he's going to be a fun fighter for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and there's a lot of guys that you wonder why does the UFC keep this guy around? They go on crazy losing streaks, and he was on a 3-fight losing streak before this one. But to be fair, it was 2 decisions, 1 sub. Those decisions both won fight of the night. He also he had won fight of the night 3 fights in a row.
Wow.
Yeah. So this guy, he's one you keep around, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and this just kind of all set the tone. It was like, wow. It just felt like at this point that like the crowd was going to explode, and you just had one of those like lightning in the bottle cards. I don't know about you, Lucas, but ever since having a kid, kind of in that mindset that the earlier the card, the better. Give me those breakfast cards. Give me those cards that are around lunchtime. It's awesome to have the early fights, but I do like that Paramount has moved the late night fights back an hour. But man, I like a good breakfast European card, or even better sometimes some of the breakfast Abu Dhabi or Asia cards.
Yeah, I do enjoy them too. They're nice once in a while for me. My issue is because I'm so religious to this sport that when there's a card at 10 a.m. or anything that coincides with training, I gotta watch the card, So
Absolutely.
It sucks. I miss Ricky's wrestling every time there's a morning card, but
Gotta do it
You know,
sometimes.
and there's days there that watch it. Like I'll never forget, man. It was Izzy and Imavov. I remember watching that, and then I was like, "What do I do with myself for the rest of the day?" So it's like it's nice, but I don't know when they're stacked up back to back, it gets a little.
Yeah, I don't like that. It shouldn't be the stack back to back where you had the Magomed Ankalaev followed by this,
Yeah,
but both cards delivered
yeah,
outside of that main event, which I know you talked about last week. You probably want to forget.
yeah. I don't think we talked too much, or we talked just enough about it, as much as it deserves. um, I was actually just looking because I was worried. I see Salkilld and I think, oh, Australia, another early card in a row, but it's not. We
Yeah,
got
no, it's a fight night in
yeah,
Vegas.
5 p.m. prelims. Thank God. Um, but back to the topic at hand, Denis Bazukia versus Bogdan Grad. I have, I don't want to say personal ties, but somewhat ties to Denis Bazukia. My co-host, his friend trains at the same gym,
Mm.
and we always kind of joke around about Denis Bazukia, especially considering how not great he's looked recently. So, I wasn't really expecting anything else from this. I guess Dennis lasted a little longer than I expected. I know this was a very questionable stoppage. I understood the stoppage. I understood what the ref saw and why he stopped it. But I also
Oh,
understood Dennis didn't tap. Um, but the ref's there, and his opinion ultimately goes. So
yeah, I think you got to make a clearer indication.
yeah,
I don't blame the ref in that spot, and he was going in any second. But
yeah,
honestly, my big read of the week, my big slam bet, and we'll talk about what I think later on that is for this week, was Rebecca Grad Parlay. That was a multi-unit bet for me. Got that in earlier in the week, and that's like in general really really important when the money piles in. Rebecca opened, at least when it came on DraftKings, around minus 380, minus 400. That rose to minus 600 by fight time.
damn,
Grad kind of stood right around where he was all week, which was about minus 185. And I think it was just a terrible matchup for Dennis. I think Grad is a really, really solid fighter. He's had some good performances, even against Luke Riley, who looks like a stud. He did great in that first round. Had him really out wrestled him before Riley eventually landed the shot in round two. Uh, Grad is a good fighter. Kind of one of those guys at 155, like definitely gets my, or sorry, 145, definitely gets my attention. Uh, Not necessarily somebody I think is going to be like a top 10 fighter, but definitely somebody I think is going to be around. Maybe could sneak into the top 15 at a point. He's got really well-rounded game, and kind of showed it during that fight.
yeah, man, yeah. It's interesting to see the transformation of Bogdan Grad. Especially with the whole being bald when he started, and now he's got the long blonde hair,
Yep.
and yeah, I mean, definitely someone to pay attention to when he's on a card. He's
Yeah.
has some fun performances for sure. Um, Speaking of fun performances, man, Borislav Nikolic versus Mark Vologdin. This was one of the only decisions on this card,
Shouldn't have
and
been a decision.
I I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate the fact that this went so long. This was a great fight.
Did you think he was out?
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
I think he
I mean,
I
dude,
think he
Mark
was out.
Vologdin is a tough dude. This is what 0-3 now.
Yeah. This guy is like, I was trying to think of what he's a mix of, because they're going to keep him around. They're going to find a way to keep him around. Going back to the Contender Series fight, which is widely considered like the best Contender Series fight ever.
Yeah,
He he's like a mix between Darren Elkins without the comebacks actually, and Chris Matinho. That's what I would that somewhere in between there in terms of man. Like if he's in a fight, just bet the over on strikes. You're gonna win.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so funny enough, I guess uh I don't think I'm remembering wrong, but his last fight, I thought he had lost. Mark Vologden lost, but it's
Correct.
looking like that got overturned to a draw.
Oh, really?
Is that what I'm seeing here,
Yeah,
or is this just
John Cost. Oh no, I think that actually was a no. I think it was a
it,
draw.
no? Because
Um,
I thought it was a loss because I thought it was his birthday and he lost on his birthday. Well, maybe you're
no,
right. Maybe
no,
it
it was
was.
28, 28, 29, 27, 28, 28 was the scorecard. So there was a 10-9. Yeah, so I think, and I'm trying to even figure out. Yeah, I'd have to remember. I remember it was a war. I just didn't remember that it ended up as a draw.
Yeah, yeah. Mark Vologden's one of those guys, man. Another one that you gotta watch. You just
Yeah, they're gonna find a
he
way.
knows how to take a beating. Yo, Michael Oliveira and Oban Elliott, man.
Oh my God.
That everyone was talking about Michael Oliveira having all this crazy power, and it to me, I was confused during the fight. I was like, does he really hit that hard, or is Oban just kind of done? Is his chin over? Like, just the jabs were doing so much damage. I couldn't believe it. And
Yeah,
yeah, not a good night in the office for the Welsh gangster.
yeah, man. Oban Elliott's had a tough go of it the last few fights. They have not done him any favors with matchmaking. I probably am expecting him to get cut after that. They gave him uh, Met. What's that Australian guy's name? Metcalf.
Mikalev.
Yeah, yeah. And then Oliveira. This guy though is legit. Like one. I mean, he has real potential. And he kind of reminds me. I think I mentioned this to you when I saw you. He's he's the Brazilian BSD. You know,
Yeah,
he was in the Brazilian Marines. The guy looks like an action figure. I think he hits like a Mack truck and can defend takedowns. It's one of those interesting situations where, we'll want to say, okay, let's see him against a wrestler. Let's see how he does. Let's see how he gets up. And, we'll reserve our judgment on is he championship level till then. But he's definitely a guy that the UFC is going to want to put those marketing dollars into because he could be a star.
yeah, yeah. You gotta feed these guys like a Taba Gaudier. You just
Yeah.
give them these guys that really shouldn't be fighting it anymore, and let them knock them out.
Yeah.
Can crushing at its finest.
Yeah, but Open Elliott is, all things considered, not an easy introduction to the UFC. Like, it tells me that they want to fast track this guy. Uh, he's not a can. He has won some fights in the UFC. Uh, but, yeah, man, that guy hits so hard. It made Oban on skates the entire fight from just a jab.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not to harp on it too much, but on the topic of is Oban Elliott a can, I'm just saying, Val Woodburn, Preston Parsons, and Basil Hafez are his 3 wins in the UFC. He's 3-3.
Hey, Basil Hafez almost beat Jack Della Melina.
Yeah, no, I know, and I mean, I honestly thought Mickey Gall beat Basil Hafez, but
I think so too. Yeah, I agree with that. Wait, so
I
that
just
he had those 3 fights first. So he went 3-0, and then he went 0-3, right? That's
yeah. And he got the Izzy special too. He went 1-for-1 for each method of loss in his last three.
Yeah, wow. But that's the thing, right, Lucas? Like he won 3 UFC fights. I agree; those are not good wins. I was making more of a joke about Basil Hafez, but they then gave him 3 really good fighters. I mean, Ko just lost, but that guy is a motherfucker. He is a great wrestler. He has a tank. He can really control you. The Australian I'll reserve a bit more judgment on. And also, Open hit him early in that fight. So it wasn't a one-way traffic. This was just like they shouldn't have been in the same arena. They were no match for each other.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, and I was talking about this a bit in the last episode, but on what you're saying of like, you look at a guy's like run as it's going and it's like incredible. And then a few years back you look and just the way things play out sometimes, you're like, wow, we thought this guy was we thought Johnny Walker was gonna be John Jones. And now we go look at his record and it's like, oof. So yeah, man, MMA is a one-of-a-kind sport, man.
Yeah, that's actually a really good example of one. I remember I actually was at MSG when Johnny Walker lost to Corey Anderson. And that was his first loss in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. And that was
it was.
Everybody was, okay, maybe we got to slow down on the Johnny Walker train.
Yeah, that was my second heartbreak in this sport. The first was Rob getting knocked the fuck out by Izzy.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, that's that's the thing with these fighters, man. Like they can go on crazy runs, but you never know. Like another one to look at. Like look at Rafael Fiziev, man. He was looking like an absolute unstoppable killer. Had the 3-rounder with Gaethje and then breaks his leg against Gamrot. Like, and look at Shavkat. Shavkat was, oh my gosh, he's gonna run through everyone, and now he's been out for like a year.
Yeah, that one's a little different. Unfortunately, that one's injuries, but totally on the others. Fizev's interesting though. Fizev might be back. That's I'm interested to see. Great performance last time out. It's a really good win, and let's see. I mean, lightweight's in an interesting spot right now where it's still an amazing division, but some of those guys at the top are getting older and older and either retired or getting close to retired or moving on to other weight divisions. So or just wrestling.
In your opinion, what would you say is the hottest weight class right now?
I have 2. One of them is just because it's always so stacked, but welterweight is pretty awesome right now. Lots of different fights to make, but I actually think the best weight class right now, talent-wise, is 125.
Yeah.
The top of that is just absolutely insane. You probably have 5 or 6 guys that could hold the title, and they're all excellent.
Yeah.
So, and they're picking each other off. They're all different weird matchups for each other. Where you ask me, I still think Van is the best. But do I think Van's going to beat Pantoja? I really have no clue. I think it's such a 50-50 fight. More because also Pantoja coming off of injury. But then you have all those other matchups. Cap is insane. Royval's still a dog, but I wouldn't put him in that top 6. Or Gucci. I mean, it's just crazy when you go through the list of those guys. So, Tyra.
And then for me, the heartbreak comes when I think of them cutting Muhammad Mokaev.
He'll be back. They shouldn't have done that, but he'll be
They
back.
had a signed Mokaev for a rookie card for like $10 at Piece of the Game, and I ordered it, and I forget what happened. They couldn't get it to me. That was like a year ago, and then a few weeks ago I ordered it again, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't have this in stock." And I'm like, "Fuck, that would have been such a great investment."
Yeah, he'll be back. and hopefully a little bit less boring than before. But
Yeah.
he's still got so much potential. I say boring from the casual fan perspective. I just think the UFC wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I
After
mean,
that performance.
with what he's done outside of the UFC, man.
Exactly.
I
They got to
mean,
bring him back in. He's clearly one of the most talented flyweights in the world and should be in the UFC.
yeah. And then you add him into the mix that we were just talking about, and it just gets crazier, you know.
By the way, I mean we'll go back to Serbia in a moment, but in lightweight, uh, with Usman Nurmagomedov now coming over, who would you give him first?
I don't know. You have to give him I think a bigger jump. You know, you want to give some of these guys like what Chandler got Hooker, a highly ranked Hooker for his first one. MVP got Kevin Holland. So you'd have to give Usman, I would say, someone in the top 7 or 8. But is that confirmed that Usman's coming to the UFC?
I mean, the way Dana said I forgot the exact quote, but it was very clear, and the way he was talking about it, and Khabib was talking about it in the octagon, it feels like somewhat of a done deal. I mean, looking at the lightweight rankings, throw out a couple different names as possibilities. Benoit Saint Denis.
That would be fun. That would definitely be a little bit of a can feeding in my opinion, especially because he just got subbed, and that's kind of Usman's specialty. But
We could give him Ruffy.
that's
I mean, that would be terrible for Ruffy.
yeah. I mean,
Otherwise,
that's
otherwise, just going through this. Grant Dawson, no way are they doing that. Musayev, who we'll talk about in a moment.
yeah.
Fiziev, Hooker, Nolan, Ruffy, Salkilld, who's fighting, Saint Denis, Moicano. No way is Moicano taking that fight.
Yeah, no.
Gamrot, Pimblett, Holloway, Oliveira, Saruki, and Topuria Gaethje. So as I look at that, I kind of feel like Ruffy is probably the match that they make.
I mean, timeline wise, I guess it also matters when he's jumping in, you know, because if we got a little while, I'm almost inclined to say give him the loser of Armin and Charles.
Wow. I mean,
welcome to the UFC.
Yeah,
That's the way you
yeah.
do it.
Yeah. I mean, in Pico's first fight, they gave him Lerone Murphy. Right?
Yeah. And that's
So I guess that would be comparable to what you're talking about.
right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, that's definitely a possibility. You can't give him Patty. That ain't happening. You
Yeah,
can't give him
no,
Holloway. I mean, that's the weird part about lightweight. It's like hard to know if these guys are fighting for a title right now, or if they're fighting for the BMF,
Legacy.
or if they're fighting just for fun. Like it's such an because you have so many stars in that division, or at least legacy stars. It's hard to know where to go with it.
yeah, that's interesting. I'm very curious, yeah, who they're what their approach is going to be. Whether they're going to go with a slower approach or a higher contender approach, you know.
Well, I do think maybe the winner of this week, their call out, might be Usman Nurmagomedov.
That would be cool. I could see maybe Gamrot doing that. I don't know if Quillen wants that.
I mean, if he wins, and we'll talk about it later, but like if he wins, he's gonna think he's like on like a rocket ship trajectory. So it also all depends on how they win. But in their mind, I wonder if that's a name they're going in, being like, yeah, that's my call out.
Yeah, that could be interesting. That would be really cool. Like, oh man, Quillen and Usman would definitely be fun. Well, selling wise, I don't know how fun that actual fight would be. I almost feel like the Gamrot matchup would be more fun just because the wrestling might cancel each other out, but if Usman's wrestling is that good, it's not going to matter.
Well, Usman's first fight in the UFC is going to be a 3-round fight on a major numbered card, whatever that is, whatever that ends up being.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got in Serbia? So we had right.
Well,
after
next was Tofik Masayev and
Yeah.
Ludovic Klein.
Yeah. So this, Serbia was a very good betting card for me. This was also something that I was all over. I was all over the plus 3.5. One of my favorite ways to bet underdogs. Plus 3.5 for Musayev. That line was insane. They had Ludwig Klein as a minus 250 favorite. The comeback on Musayev was plus 205. The plus 3.5 line was even money at plus 100. Musayev is a dog. He's also a cheater in the past, but he's a dog. I mean, sometimes like when you're betting on fighters, very different from picks, but when you're betting on fighters, you want a fighter that's literally willing to cheat to win.
Yeah.
And I mean, Musayev's also talented. I think he actually has a really good mix. What I was most impressed with in this fight is I feel like Musayev in some of his fights has not been the better striker. And man, he took it to Klein. And I think what it made me realize is like sometimes when Musayev hasn't looked like the better striker, it's because the other guy has been longer and has been able to control the reach. And in this case, him and Klein are pretty similar dimension-wise, and he was able to close that distance and really just pile it on.
Yeah. I going into this one, man, I thought that Klein was going to get it done. I had it in my head of Ignacio beating the shit out of him, and then he cheated, and that's how he won. And, kind of that, I guess you could call it a time fog of all the time that's happened since a certain thing kind of corrupts your memory of the way it played out. And that, I definitely think, is what made me choose the loser in this one. But, normally I try to go with the EF ending last names. They
It went in that part of the world, yeah.
Yeah. But man, Tofik definitely didn't fluke this one. So
No.
he's got a number next to his name, and his next matchups will be.
Yeah, probably Tom Nolan or something like that. Looking at the numbers there, that sounds about right. Interesting matchup. Honestly, based upon what we just said, like the length gave him problems versus Ignacio. If that happens, something to think about when predicting that fight.
I do find a lot of the times, man, I'll see a guy fight, 5 times, and I get this idea in my head that he's this size. And then I'll see another guy fight like 4 times, and I get an idea of, oh, this guy's a little smaller, blah, blah, blah. And they get in the cage, and one guy's 10 inches taller than the other. And I'm like, what? And I think this was one of them for me. I thought Klein was going to be bigger, I guess.
Klein's a lot smaller than you think. He's
Well,
just
and
like
I think-
brolic dude. He's just
Ignacio made Tofik look small too. So
tiny.
Yeah. So, it's I gotta study better. But that was the main of the prelims. So the prelims were absolutely fire. The one decision was sick as fuck. Everything else finishes. And then our main card started with Milos Janicic versus Noah Gunyan. This was Noah was. Which one was the hometown guy? Oh, Milos was. Yeah, Milos Janicic was the hometown hero in this one, and Noah Gunyan came out, played spoiler. He got the rear naked first round. To keep the hype going on this incredible card.
It was actually kind of crazy. The line for this opened This is probably one of the biggest misses for Vegas. And I didn't bet this. It's two debut fighters. Didn't really know too much about it, other than hearing some folks talk about it in advance. But the line opened minus 500 for Milos, and it dropped by fight time to him being an underdog at like plus 110, plus 120. So really sharp, good money came in on Noah, and they were right. The wrestling proved to be the deciding factor, and he just outgrappled him.
Yeah. It's kind of all there was to that one. That was one where right beforehand, I was kind of looking to chase a little, and I was staring at the odds for Gugyan. I was like, man, is he gonna do it? And I didn't take it. I should have, but oh well. Onto the upset of the card. This was crazy, man. Gilbert Urbina versus Vlasto Chepo, man. Everyone thought Chepo was going to come and flatline Urbina. And to be honest, Urbina was on a pretty bad losing streak. So the expectation for that was understood. I know I texted you. I personally love Gilbert Urbina. I think his personality is hilarious in what we've gotten to see in his interviews. And I was very happy for him, even though I had bet against him. But
he needed that win to stay in the UFC, though. I think he was going to get cut if he lost, and they were setting it up. This is another one where like crowd went silent as soon as it happened. Hometown guy getting beaten. It wasn't looking good for Serbia, that's for sure, on different parts of the card. I think with Gilbert, people forget in a lot of these fights where he's gotten beat, he's done something pretty spectacular. I mean, he actually knocked down Uros Medic before he eventually got knocked out by Uros. And so he is dynamic. Thankfully got that win. He'll be around in the UFC still. Fun guy to put on an undercard. And definitely expect pretty quick fights when he's around one way or the other.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it is, man. When it comes to like people like you, people like me who watch every single fight on every single card, these are the guys that none of these Conor chasing fans are gonna ever know who Gilbert Urbina is, but you and I, we're gonna see him and we're gonna see his next matchup and we're gonna go, oh, that'll be a fun one, and it's better than seeing like Torres Finney fighting.
Absolutely. And that's what you have to stack like these prelims with, and that's why these types of matches really matter for their future card construction, because you want, they kind of set it up where they can win both ways. They win if they hype up somebody in front of their home crowd, right? But they also win if they get to keep around an exciting fighter, and now they have a reason to keep Urbina around.
Yeah, man, and. Yeah, we'll see. He was, I think he was on a 3-fight losing.
Yeah, 3-fight losing streak. I think it was
two fight. Okay, it wasn't, but he was 1-4 in his last 5. So this was definitely needed. But man, if you look at who he lost to, man, Uros Medic, Charles Radke, Brian Battle, Trayshawn Gore.
Wow, Chuck Buffalo. That's a very good fighter.
Yeah, absolutely, man. He's definitely fought some tough opponents.
Yeah.
But I think that's all the coverage on Urbina. He's not that high ranked yet. Robert Valentin versus Dusko Todorovic. This was a fight I was so split on going into. I had no idea really who was going to take it. But I'm very glad that Valentin won.
Yeah, I leaned Dusko in this fight, and Valentin on that season of Tough was so funny. He kind of like owned the house. He like won a fight, and then he essentially was the coach alongside Alexa Grasso. It was very funny. He's got an awesome personality. I think he thinks of himself as some type of I don't know, like a Viking samurai in some way. So you kind of saw it in his post-fight speech and really, trying to bring everybody together. He's I can't get a read on him. I don't know whether he's talented and skillful or he is just a can. Honest, I don't know. I mean, I don't think he can really strike with the big guys. I do think he's dynamic on the ground, and he's not somebody that you just want to let play around with you. I think Dusko in past fights has been a solid grappler, and he made some terrible, terrible mistakes. He got reversed 2 or 3 times in less than a round, where he allowed himself to end up on bottom. And then in that exchange, I mean, it kind of was coming. He was leaving his head in weird positions, and he just left himself so open to that guillotine. So, Dusko's been around for a while, probably get some more fights. Valentin, they should give him fun fights, but step up. Who did he get? It was a Tepegadia, right? He got just the shit beat out of him.
Yeah. Flatline.
They gotta try and find the right level for Valentin and be very careful about moving him further up. I don't think he's really that next step in the division, but fun guy.
It's a fun personality, It's when you can make your mark on the mic when maybe you didn't make it in the octagon. It's still a big deal, Like Robert Valentin, I know that he's not the greatest, but there's moments, and everything goes viral now. Like I'll see Robert Valentin go circling on social media, and I'll see his post-fight speeches, and it kind of keeps it fresher in my mind, And it's like, I'm not seeing any videos of Dusko talking about my mom died, and I dedicate this win to her. Like it's a little less. So, with that, I think Valentin is playing his cards the best he can. He's fighting to the best of his ability. He's trying to make the most out of every moment on the mic, and another guy that you give just a easier matchup and hope for fireworks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fireworks was not what Alexander Rakic versus Tybura was, which this was our snoozer of the card. It was a unanimous 30-27 for Rakic. And, this was Rakic's heavyweight debut. He looked better than Tybura, but that's not really saying anything. Funny enough, the one note that I kind of made to myself when they were doing the tail of the tape, and then I saw the size differences, I was like, wow, that's what Q and I look like when him and I are rolling.
Yeah, Q looks like oh my God, who? Taliesin Teixeira. It's I always like to joke with him that last year he had a very similar look to him.
Yeah, yeah. Well, dude, there's that. I think he's only fought in the UFC once. He was the opener of the Charles versus Max card, Tobias something. But I ran into him in Vegas, and I was like, damn, this really looks like you. So.
He's got a recognizable face.
Yeah, I guess,
Tybura's just got this, like, ability to not get totally starched by a lot of guys. And that's kind of how I feel like he fights at this point, is not to get beat down, but not to win anymore. I mean, he's so old at this point, and you will always have him kicking Greg Hardy's ass, which was a good memory. But he's close to retirement. Rakic, I mean, I look at him every fight, and I'm like, this guy, I feel like is oozing with talent, and I would think that at light heavyweight, and I was a big fan of Rakic. I thought he had a lot of potential, and little by little. It's like when that guy loses and he loses some of his confidence and he starts not being as dynamic, it just wears and wears. And sure, he's at heavyweight now. Maybe, maybe there's a couple other guys he can beat, but uh, I don't see I don't see the future for him at heavyweight
Yeah.
in terms of being successful. I think that's where he's going to be, but I just don't feel like he's going to rattle off. I don't know, 4 wins in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you can't go to decision with Marcin Tybura, and not even that, but like there weren't really any moments at all where it looked like,
No.
oh, he can finish him, he hurt him, nothing. So it just wasn't impressive at all, and especially against such an unimpressive opponent. And you know, I have a feeling we'll be seeing Rakic get chinned again soon.
Yeah,
That's but
definitely at that weight class.
well, our co-main event was fireworks, man. This was one that I got wrong. I got it backwards. I thought that this was a big jump up for Navajo Sterling, and I was wrong, man. He came out. He looked great. He put a whooping on Jan, and wow, what a star, man. I didn't think Navajo had it in him to beat Jan, but this I think goes back to that the time fog. I just in my head, Jan Blachowicz is one of the best to ever do it at light heavyweight. You know, he's a tough opponent,
Yeah,
and I'm not thinking that Jan Blachowicz is 40-something years old and probably should be retiring soon.
yeah, and has had a bunch of weird fights. Uh, the last few, like weird things where he's almost been knocked out, and then there's like a 10-8 round in there, but he then finds a way to survive and then kicks at people's legs, and oh man, you look up, it's like, oh, he won that round. He won that round. The Guskov fight, the Ankalaev fight, like these are not that long ago, but it's father time. But at the same time, Navajo Sterling, younger guy. I hated how he was talking about it this week. Like he was acting like, oh, I'm not expected to win. It's like I hate when guys say that in general, but also I hate when they say it when Vegas is expecting them to win. Uh, and yeah, he definitely impressed me in the past. He hasn't impressed me. Now I think you got to give him the major step up. So I was thinking, given Roundtree missed the fight against Ankalaev, Sterling Roundtree is a really intriguing fight night. Maybe a fight night with a crowd, maybe an Australian fight night, maybe a fight night in some city across the states. Could be a really fun one, and I think is worthy of a 5 round uh, main event.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, for me, a lot of my doubts for Navajo was stemming from that Kudalaba fight of seeing him get
Yeah,
taken down,
taken down.
and
Yeah,
with Khalil Roundtree, I'm not necessarily worried about the grappling. So to me, I think Navajo might have an easy time with Khalil.
I mean, who at 205 is really a great grappler, at least at the top. Ankalaev's okay. He's
Right.
not. I wouldn't call Ankalaev a grap. I mean, I was just going through in my head because I totally get your point. There's not really many great 205 sucks right now in general, but there's really not many great 205 grapplers. I think that's why Hamzat is looking at that, looking at that division like, oh, that's easy work for me, and maybe why, and I don't have to cut as much weight. Maybe why I'll move up to 205. But I mean, the other fight, maybe you give him Paulo Costa, but I think Costa's sitting there thinking, I probably could just get my interim title shot. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to shake out. Roundtree was just the first name that came to my head. I don't think that tests the skill set, but I do think it sells. Uh, I think you can make that a main event of a fight night, pretty
I,
pretty definitively.
yeah, that would be definitely. I mean, honestly, I think you put Navajo against any of the top five, top 7, 8 guys, and that sells as a main event.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if the UFC would do this, because it would be star power versus star power, but Navajo Sterling versus Yuri would be really fun in my book. But I don't think they would do that. I don't think the fans want to see Yuri get slept again.
I don't think they, unless that's a title fight, I don't think Yuri is looking at that. Uh, I don't think that's the one he signs on the dotted line. But I have no idea what they're going to do at 205 still. I think
Yeah,
it's most likely going to be an interim title fight while they wait for Ulberg to come back.
yeah. Well, and now that rat Ankalaev is back in the win column, I'm sure they're gonna squirm him in some way.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I think that performance was so bad. I don't know if they want him in a title fight. But you're probably right. Just based on rankings, it might be hard to deny him.
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? They do deny some of these guys for a long time. Like you look at Umar, and
Yeah.
you look at everything Umar's gonna have to do, and already has done since his loss to get back to the title shot.
But some of that's by his own choice. Like if you hear him talking about taking some of those fights, I think if Umar, really was like, no, I won't fight until then. I think he might eventually get the fight. But man, I don't think the guy cares. I think the guy just wants to stay active.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
He
a
was
true
supposed to
martial artist.
fight. He was supposed to
Song,
fight some unranked
Song
dude,
Yudong?
right?
Oh no, he just fought Song. Wait, is it Song Yudong that he's fighting?
I think
I
you're
wanna
right.
say, I want to say Umar's fighting Song Yudong on a card.
Yes, I think
Yes,
you are right.
yes. Later on in August. Yeah, he's fighting Song Yudong in Shanghai.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's
I mean, he's going to be a massive favorite, but that's also pretty cool to be going to China to fight Song.
well, he's kind of just getting the UFC World Tour right now.
Yeah, yeah,
Floating
literally.
out. Yeah. So, I guess as long as he keeps winning, that's all that matters. He's got his
Yep.
family's all doing well. He's at the top. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love Umar. Umar's one of my favorites for sure.
absolutely.
Well, bringing us to our main event, I think we're gonna spend longer talking about it than it actually was. 30 seconds, Euros Medic lands the same combo that Connor got Eddie Alvarez with, basically, and puts D-Rod out. Some might say D-Rod quit, but it was, Euros Medic, absolute animal. This was everyone expected him to come out and finish D-Rod first round. It's exactly what he did. I'm very, very curious to see what this guy's ceiling is. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, except for me, I think I texted you, although I had a bunch of very good picks. I did think that fight would start the second round because I thought D-Rod might be able to, kind of keep his distance at time. But man, Medic, he hits hard. I think for D-Rod, that last time out, such a great performance against Kevin Holland, and then getting put in Mexican prison for uh, what was it, 9 months? I mean, the guy
Yeah.
didn't get out until April, and then was put on a card 2 months later. I just don't think he had enough time to get back into real training, particularly at 39 years old. The more hindsight's 2020. It just wasn't a good spot for him, particularly going to Serbia to fight a hometown guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
think
not that high on Medic though. I don't know what it is. I think he's super exciting. I think he gets all these first round knockouts. I don't think the resume is that striking to me. Overall though, fun fight to make. I was looking at the rankings. Uros versus Buckley.
who
That
that
could be
and
really fun.
That would be refreshing because we've only seen Buckley go against grapplers as of lately,
Yeah.
and to see Buckley get back in there against another dude that has that power, that would be really fun. I think that's definitely that could be one of the best matchups you could make.
Like, imagine that as a main card opener on a numbered event.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you
mean,
just get everyone going on that.
yeah, yeah. I think that's a great spot, or even to close out prelims.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Yeah, on like a really big card. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
everybody would be so excited about a fight like that. That's the way I see it. I don't know. I just like it's hard for me to gauge a guy who's what is it, 4 or 5 straight first round knockouts for Medic. That
4 now. Yeah,
4 now. Yeah, I don't know. Guy hits hard, but he's not like I don't think he's unbeatable. I think it's going to be hard for him to get past most of the guys in the top 10. I think if you went down the list, Buckley is the most fun matchup, but does anybody overpower Buckley on the feet? Not really.
yeah. That dude's
Yeah.
got horse muscles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a sick card. Sick card, like one of the cards of the year. Love when that happens, where card you least expect ends up being like that much fun.
yeah, yeah. Well, and they were saying that I think they were trying to say White House like broke that record first, and then this came in and broke the finishing record.
Well,
What?
I think the White House had every fight ended by finish.
Yeah.
That was
Every
the record for
yeah.
that. Every fight ended by finish on that card. That was a UFC record because you can't have, you know, there's no more that you could have than every fight.
Yeah.
But this was the most first round finishes ever.
And finishes.
And finishes? Oh, all right.
Yes,
Well, that
it
also
was.
makes sense because White House didn't have,
Yeah,
that
they
many
had
fights.
8 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's probably been a lot of different cards that have had 8 finishes on it. I didn't realize,
Yeah.
though, that this had the most finishes as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
12 finishes. Yeah.
Wow.
So two records. This was a big card, man. This was, like I said, I had high expectations and it exceeded them. So,
Yeah.
oh man. But yeah, I think that was a great way to wrap up Serbia. This coming weekend, we got where even are they this weekend? Are they?
Yeah, they're in the Apex.
Okay. We got they're throwing Quillen Salkilld in the Apex. That's disgraceful. But then again, it's Gamrot, so it's damage control. So starting this card off, we have Juliana Miller versus Ravina Oliveira. It's a flyweight bout in the women's division. I'm not particularly excited for this fight, but a fight's a fight. I'll watch and hopefully be surprised. How do you see this one playing out, Jordan?
It's a good description. Honestly, I mean, I'm a huge fan of women's MMA, but this is a very low level fight. Ravina Oliveira is terrible, but Juliana Miller is 5-4. And I'll talk more about bets here because this is like there's bets and picks, a very different thing. I ain't touching this fight with a 12-foot pole. Ravina Oliveira is terrible. Just know that she is absolutely terrible, and I wouldn't bet this fight. I have no prediction whatsoever.
Yeah, I think just going based off their records, I think. Are you familiar with Verdict at all?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, also just so you know, I'm curious to hear what Verdict's saying, but Miller's a minus 225 favorite, and and she might be rising to like minus 250. I forbid you, anybody listening to this, from betting either side of this.
Well, it's funny because Verdict has Ravina as the favorite.
That's insane. I mean, sure. The Vegas line though is is on the side of Miller. Both are
Yeah, yeah,
very unspectacular. I mean, Miller's going to have an advantage in the grappling. That's all I'll say. Ravina is likes to throw punches. The under 2.5 rounds is actually minus money. So Vegas is expecting the fight to end inside the distance. So at least that is a potentially fun way to start the card.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess they're kind of banking on both of them being so shit that one of them can't finish. So.
Yeah.
But honestly, moving on to the second fight, I'm very excited for this.
Yeah.
Not enough coverage about this at all.
At all.
We are getting Chiwiwis Jr. Jesse Rosas is debuting against Miles Johns. This is massive, man. To have a second Rosas brother, it's not often we get a set of brothers, and it's not often we get a set of brothers that can be at such a high level. And Raul is already there. If Jesse can make it there, it would be really sick. This could be the next Diaz brothers situation. But he's got a relatively tough fight ahead of him. Miles Johns has been, a problem, or at least was a problem. He's on a little bit of a skid. He's 3-fight losing streak. But I'm kind of banking on Jesse being able to take control of this one.
Yeah, so a couple of things there. Is Jesse the younger brother, or is Chiwiwi's older? I thought Jesse was like 23, and I honestly like Chiwiwi's that time fog that you were talking about. Chiwiwi's is still like 16 years old in my mind.
Yeah,
I know he's not, but so I was like, is he the younger or is he the older brother?
I believe he's the older.
Okay,
but I do think that there's, if I'm correct, I want to say there's a third brother too. So I don't.
Okay, so maybe there's like a year difference between the two, or maybe like 2-year difference. Between the two, something like that. I think like Chiwiwi's debut was 2023 or 2022 maybe. And
I think it was like 2022 sounds.
And he was 17, so he's probably like 21, 22 years old, something along the lines of that, or somewhere in the ballpark. So if Jesse's 23, he's the older brother. That sounds about right. So anyway, one thing that's interesting about this, I haven't watched much on Jesse, much tape out there, but I will tell you something really funny. In April of 2023, I went to Mexico City on a trip with my wife and a couple friends, and while I was there, I was like, you know what? Why don't I go train? So I go to this local gym, a Gracie Baja gym, rolling around with some people, lots of fun. Crazy hard training at elevation in Mexico City. Oh my God. It was like my second day there, 7,500 feet. I was dying. And I'm rolling with this guy who the coach spoke a little Spanish and English. My Spanish sucks, but enough to get by. And he tells me that the guy I'm rolling with is getting ready for an MMA fight in 10 days. And roll around with him. He's smaller than me. I'm like 175. He's been cutting weight to do a fight at 135. And the guy's name, you can look this up, was Eric Ruano. He just fought Jesse for the title.
Oh, shit.
Jesse arm triangled him in the 5th round.
Damn.
It's kind of a funny little connection there. And that guy's like he's like 38 years old now, Guatemalan guy. He was rolling with him like 3 to 4 years ago. He's if you look through his resume, he's actually fought some interesting guys, but he's on the tail end of his career. Some names you'd recognize, like former UFC fighters, but he fights a lot in the Central American MMA scene. Anyway, point being, Jesse is, I'm sure he's a great wrestler, probably the same type of cloth as Raul. Miles is a minus 155 favorite. Jesse's plus 130. I assume there's a reason for that. I will say, though, we always think of Miles Johns as having good wrestling. And he's one of those guys that has good wrestling, but then decided he likes to strike. And then seems like he forgot how to wrestle. like against Daniel Marcos, really great fighter, Daniel Marcos. I actually big fan of his. Miles John kind of got out wrestled in that fight, and that was not something you expected. I think he got submitted by Daniel Marcos in his last time out.
Yeah.
So and I watched that fight. I felt like Miles just didn't feel strong enough uh, to really hang with the physicality of Daniel Marcos. And so my question is, if Jesse Rosas has the physicality that his brother has in the wrestling, that might overwhelm Miles John. I'm not touching this. I thought it was just kind of a funny little thing that I happened to roll with the guy that he just beat.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
his recent fight.
That's really cool, man. That's part of the best part of getting deep into just the martial arts world, man. It's just the small circles, you know.
Yeah.
And
Probably the
that's
one area where, like, years ago, you could have rolled with Gordon Ryan, and that's essentially like the Michael Jordan of the sport. Imagine you playing basketball and you being like, "Oh yeah, I shot around with Michael Jordan." That's
yeah,
never gonna happen. But in this world, it could.
yeah. It's I can't express enough how much just the uniqueness of MMA is truly just incredible, you know, and that's
Yeah.
why I love this stuff so much. But I think risk free pick. I'd take Jesse by decision. You know, I mean, he does look like he gets a good amount of finishes out of his 8 wins. He's only been the distance once, and he's been subbed one time. So I'm assuming that maybe that's what they're kind of seeing on the Miles John side. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like you said, the footage of Jesse isn't really out there, so it'll it'll be interesting to see. Moving on to Manuel Souza
Yeah.
and Richie Miranda. This is
I actually got
a
a good amount on. I got a good amount on this one actually. It's
Oh,
a really
yeah.
interesting fight. So Souza, he's kind of like, if I were to make a comparison, he's like Bruno Ferreira at 155. He is a beast of a guy. Like, throws hard. He had a great fight against Bojan Ogi, but Ogi is like, he's mainly a striker, and at times he landed a takedown against Souza, and he was even able to control him at points on the ground. So this is a guy that just kind of, and Ferreira, in terms of the comparison, actually has a better ground game than this guy. Not good on the ground, not good, but like all muscle, like just a giant muscle. This guy, he's a minus 250 favorite in this fight. Richie Miranda, he's at a really good gym. He's an LFA champion. He's won 3 straight title fights. He is not fast on the feet at all, but he's gritty. He's very good grappler. He actually was at what's that school in Nebraska that Usman went to, I believe. It's the same really good D3 wrestling program or D2 wrestling program that Usman and a couple other guys have gone to, that Richie went to. And yeah, he's a good wrestler, good grappler. So if he can control where this fight goes, this could be an interesting upset. Guy won 3 straight LFA title fights. Like, that is, he's 13-1. He's a legit guy coming in. I see this fight going one of two ways. Either I look like an idiot in the first round and Souza just destroys him because he's way faster than him on the feet, or Richie just grinds this out. So I think Richie is a pretty intriguing dog in this fight. Like, Richie in the plus 1/1.5. I don't know what the actually I did actually see this. The round line is at 1.5, and it's at minus 255 on the over. So to me, Vegas does think that this fight is going to go over 1.5 rounds. And if they think that, then I think the fight is all Richie. But if it's under, I think the fight is all Souza. So that's where I'm leaning here. I am definitely eyeing the dog potentially. I haven't placed a bet, but it's got my eye.
Okay, so you think there's some moderate value in Richie Miranda by decision?
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and he has only 2 knockouts in his 13 wins, 5 submissions, but only 2 knockouts. He's never been knocked out, so he only has 1 loss.
No, actually, so his one loss was to the current LFA champion, Keegan Genrich. I got to meet Keegan at the Starbucks of New York, when I was out in Vegas. He was cornering Dante Johnson.
Wow.
And that was a split decision loss. Keegan's a fucking tough dude. He just beat Austin Hubbard. And, so that's, very, very impressive looking resume for Richie Miranda. But I will say one notable win on Souza's record, I don't know if you happen to notice, he beat Mauricio Ruffi.
I did see that. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, look, he's a talented guy. He's big. So as I said, you could look like a fool. I just think it's kind of funny that Vegas thinks this fight is going to make it into the 3rd round. So the later this fight goes on, that amount of muscle has to fatigue. Now, he did score a 3rd round TKO against Oki last time out, but
yeah,
it's one of those things where the longer the fight goes on, the more I think it's better for Richie.
Yeah, that's. I'll definitely be taking a look at some action on that. What do you think? Is there any value in Louis Sutherland or Henrique Silva Lopez?
Yeah, this is such low level MMA. I mean, if Louis hadn't fought, why am I blanking? Oh my God,
Tai
Tuivasa. I mean, he wouldn't be in the UFC. This is this is like, do your bathroom break, come back later. I don't have much else in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting because Henrique de Silva Lopez. Wow. Okay, so I'm just seeing this for the first time. He knocked out Johnny Walker back in 2016.
Wow.
Then he got knocked out. Then took a 3-year layoff. Lost in 2019. And has yet to fight since. So, this smells like a fucking setup to me. This guy hasn't fought since 2019. He hasn't won since 2016.
Oh no! I think you might be looking in the wrong place.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
I was on verdict.
Oh wait, no, you're right. What the heck? What? He hasn't fought since 2019.
And he hasn't won since he beat Johnny Walker in 2016.
I think that's a... Wait. Did that fight just get changed? I'm pretty sure, Lucas, that... that's the wrong person. They have it listed wrong. It's actually Jose Montana is the guy that's fighting. They have it listed wrong. Yeah. That'd have been hilarious, though. That would have been a setup.
And whatever I was looking at was wrong too, because this guy has a lot more fights than that.
Jose Montana is 6-1. He's 29 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right,
supposedly it's good jiu-jitsu. That's all I heard, but it's hard to find any of his fights. That's all I've heard.
I mean, honestly, this is one where I would go based off physicality. If this whoever is stepping in against Louis Sutherland, if he doesn't look like he's, you know, one skittle away from having to take insulin shots for the rest of his life, then
Yeah.
I might take him to beat Fat Louis. But
Yeah. I don't think that's terrible. Louis should never be a favorite in a fight.
yeah, well, and at least on verdict, he's a pretty large favorite too.
Interesting.
So that's funny. But moving on from the fat slobs, Dr. Nurgazai and Bruno Lopez going at it. Actually, it's funny because, I was just talking about that guy that looked like Q that I met in Vegas. That's who Dr. Nurgazai just beat, Rafael Tobias.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do. That is another Q replica. Yeah. I mean, what do you think on this one?
I don't know, man. Bruno Lopez isn't exactly a great fighter. These guys are both 3-2 in their last two. At least Dr's looking or coming off a win, but I wouldn't say he's looked impressive. The Tobias fight was honestly terrible, man.
Yeah, that was terrible. Terrible fight.
And it was funny too because Tobias's coach said to me, he said, "Oh, this guy gonna knock him out in first round." But
Yeah.
I don't know. He lost to Brenson Hibiero, and that's not really a good look. Whereas Bruno has lost to Navajo Sterling and Dustin Jacoby. In a situation like this, I almost want to go with experience. When you're looking at losses, the bigger losses are going to be where you get the bigger improvements. So I think Bruno Lopez might be able to edge this one out.
Yeah, I don't hate it. The way I look at it though is Bruno has no chin and DR hits hard. But DR is horrendous on the ground. I mean, there's a chance he might actually be one of, if not the worst fighter on the ground in the UFC. So, it's kind of like if Bruno lands a takedown, he could get a sub. Like DR is that bad on the ground. But I'm gonna wait until I see the additional lines come out later this week. One of my favorite types of bets in these spots is TKO only, sub decision no action bet, or in that same vein, a sub TKO decision no action bet. If Nurgazai is anywhere around his current line on a TKO sub decision no action, I'm going to be pretty interested at it. If Bruno is anywhere around minus 150 on sub only TKO or decision no action, I'm going to be all over that too. And so that's a way you could bet both sides, but automatically be refunded some money if one side misses or one side doesn't. So the way I see it, yeah, it's either DR is going to find the chin or Bruno's going to find a way with the wrestling to get to a submission.
Yeah, unfortunately, just looking at stats-wise, Verdict has the takedown accuracy stat, and Bruno Lopez has a 36% takedown accuracy stat.
That's pretty bad, but what I will say, and DR's takedown defense, what was it against Tobias? What was, how many takedowns did he get versus attempted? Curious if you have that pulled up. Because that actually be really telling. If I remember correctly, he did.
Tobias shot 8 and got 2.
8 and got 2, but what was the control time on that?
2 minutes 31 seconds.
Yeah, I'm telling you, in one of those exchanges, he almost got the sub twice, and the way DR got out was like terrible. So, yeah, he did. Clearly, he's worked on takedown defense, which was a big improvement relative to the past. I'm curious if you looked at previous fights, but once that guy is on the ground, he doesn't know what he's doing. So, yeah, that's the general general take on this fight, how I
So
see it playing out. But generally, I'm fading unless I get something juicy on one of those two bets: the TKO only on the DR side, or the sub only. All other bets refunded on the Bruno Lopez side.
yeah, yeah, awesome, awesome. Well, that's I would say that's going to be a matchup. I wouldn't say that's going to be a great matchup because
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect, but I am excited for our next matchup: Steven Asplin versus Guilherme Pat. This is one that honestly I'm unsure of off the top, and I'd like to know your opinion because I love Steve Asplin. I really want him to win, but I don't know how this plays out.
Yeah, this is like such a funny fight from like this is like bad body good fighter versus good body bad fighter. Uh, and Asplund, he's talented, man. He's a talented guy. He even gave Vitor Petrino problems, and he's got such an inspirational story. The weight loss is nuts, man. Honestly, I'm not really touching the fight from a betting perspective, but I think Asplin's the pick here. I think Asplin's going to win. Minus 300 is a pretty hefty price tag.
Yeah,
They're kind of also very opposite fighters in style. Asplin's like all pressure, really kind of constantly moving forward, and Guilherme is kind of constantly on his back foot. He seems like he should be more talented than he is,
yeah,
but he doesn't really feel like he wants to fight when he's in there. Once again, Vegas thinks this fight is going to go on for a good amount of time. It's minus 245 on the over 1.5. I wonder what their line is going to be for inside the distance. I would assume that's probably going to be like even money on both sides. But yeah, Asplin's the pick. I'm not betting it, but I think he's just going to have too much forward pressure for Pat.
yeah. I hope so, man. I mean, they're both coming off a loss, and I would say they're both coming off losses to guys who wanted to do the same thing. Guilherme fought Thomas Peterson, and Steve fought Petrino, and they both went for the grappling heavy approach, and I thought Guilherme Pat looked terrible.
Terrible.
He just let Peterson hug him, and even when they weren't holding each other, he wasn't looking to throw anything. He just let Peterson do exactly what he wanted. Whereas, Petrino was looking for that method, but Asplin gave him a fucking fight, man. Like that was
He did, man. He did. He was almost out. He was almost out. I mean,
Yeah.
multiple times. And I think in the first round, right? I think the first round was when Asplin almost knocked him out. But
Yeah, man.
that would have been a huge upset. But yeah, Asplin's fun. Asplin's a fun fighter.
Yeah, that'll be a sick one. That's a great one, I think, to close off the prelims, and hopefully, we're all happy with Steve Asplin on Sunday. Billy Ray Goff and Ty Miller are opening up this card. Expectations are, man, is Ty Miller's going to run through Billy Ray. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I actually got in on Ty Miller at minus 285 as part of my parlay slam. So I try and get out ahead of lines early in the week. Ty Miller was one I saw at minus 285 and was trying to find something else to pair it with, and we'll talk about that in a moment, what that is. But he's exploded all the way up to minus 380. And Billy Ray Goff's a great guy. He's actually kind of close to local around here in Connecticut. He has always been a pretty fun fighter, but Ty really feels like a dynamic young prospect. Really was impressed against Fugit. Really just had some excellent combinations. And I think he's going to be a little too much for Billy Ray here.
Yeah, this will be, this is one of those fights you kind of expect to finish, you're just hoping for some entertainment here, and that's
Yeah.
both guys
Absolutely.
are relatively newer to the UFC. Billy Ray's had 3 fights in, and Ty has only fought once. So, as far as the base of our sport, this is kind of where the development happens. So, I'm excited to see this one play out. Amanda Lemos and Alexia Tene. Dude, this is one where I feel like I'm looking at Navajo Sterling versus Jan Blachowicz all over again. I look at Amanda Lemos and I'm like, oh damn, she's such a. But then when you zoom in and you look at that record, man, it's like she hasn't looked too hot lately. She's coming off 2 decision losses. She was finished a few fights ago by my girl Verna.
Yeah.
But when you look at her record compared to Alexia's, Alexia's not really finishing people, but she's winning, and she's winning a lot.
Yeah. I mean, Tainara's really good. I think she is so physical for this weight class. I think she's a bully, which, you can get away with sometimes. At the end of her last fight, she dominated Bruna Brazil and then almost got knocked the fuck out in the last couple seconds, and it was pretty wild. And you kind of can't do that against Lemos. But at the same time, with Lemos, if you look at her record, and I agree, it's been tough sledding lately. She's kind of in one of these situations where her losses are only to like the best fighters, and girls that are either fought for the title or are former title holders. She had an insanely tough fight against Mackenzie Dern, which she won because she almost knocked out Mackenzie in round 1. She, lost to Weili Zhang, really got out wrestled. And this kind of continues that theme from here. She got out wrestled by Tatiana Suarez. She got out wrestled by Robertson, who's now fighting for the title. I mean, she gets out wrestled. She gets on her back and she struggles from there. But then when she's on the feet against these other than Weili, she dominates these people on the feet. Like she's like bombs. She throws bombs every single time, and she hits hard. She's accurate as heck. But I just think Tainara is younger and hungrier and a little too physical for Lemos. He's probably going to land a lot of takedowns. I also think that there's a chance that we look really dumb. I wouldn't bet too much on Tainara this week. Like, she's at minus 230. Lemos is still a good fighter. I don't think Tainara is going to get the finish. Jandaroba had an unbelievable armbar that she hit against Lemos. Otherwise, I think a lot of other women have that Lemos has faced. She's done a good job being cognizant on the ground. She doesn't she doesn't go for like crazy escapes. She kind of just accepts and waits out the round and is able to avoid getting finished. I'd be very curious what the takedown line ends up being on Tainara, but if I'm going pretty conservative, I'm looking at the over 2.5 at minus 210. That feels like a good parlay piece. I feel like Lemos finds a way to stick in there with Tainara. I don't think Tainara finds the finish, but I do think Tainara wins the fight.
Yeah. And Verdict has those odds basically. If you know how Verdict odds work, they do the times payout, and just for Tainara to get a knockout is 63 times whatever you're predicting. And,
Yeah.
the submission's a bit more there, but it's still 5 times your bet. So I think Tainara by decision is gonna be the way this plays out. So maybe if you gotta go to the bathroom, this is the one you go to.
I love this fight still. I don't know, but I hear you on that. I don't think you're gonna get the finish.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. Like women's MMA, man, can be so, and granted, so can men's MMA, but women's MMA can be so hit or miss because, I mean, how many fights have we seen where they're in a leg entanglement and they're just kind of like elbowing each other in the ass? Like, it's just such a.
That depends. It depends. I think this is a pretty high level MMA fight. It's a good one. There's certainly others out there. Like, yeah, the opener to this card. Yeah, I don't really want to watch that. But this fight, this will have my eyes. I think it's a good chess match between these two fighters.
Yeah.
Ramos hits hard. She does, and it's just that Tainara is going to have such a physicality advantage. Could look really dumb with that pick, but Tainara's the lean there.
Yeah, and it's the number. Tainara is number 10 and Lemos is number 11. So
Yeah.
that'll be some lateral movement. It's funny because our next two fights on the card are all unranked guys. So before our main event, our last ranked fight is Amanda Lemos and Alexia Tainara. But I will say I'm very excited for both of these next two fights. Darren Elkins versus Yadir Daval. That one is, gonna be. It's probably gonna be a Yadir's night, but Darren Elkins is so fun, man. I just love to see him get in there, and I just want to see him last. Seeing him get put out early, that's no fun. When you get to see him live up to his name, the damage, man, there's nothing like it. But, he's coming off a first-round loss to Julian Erosa, so hopefully he can at least survive past the first in this one, if not get the win. Whereas Yadir just lost to Jordan Leavitt. So, yeah, I think durability-wise, Yadir should win this, but, Darren Elkins, 29-12, long time fighter against 10-1. This is one of those where the experience yells at me, and I wanna go for that, but I don't know, man. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that I've been thinking through on this fight, and I hate that I already have a good amount of money on it. Particularly just given all the dynamics. I mean, Yadier has been in arguably the biggest betting scandal, and it wasn't his fault, but Bulgarian on the other side, where all the money came in on Yadir Daval, first round submission, and lo and behold, it happened at massive plus money, and that's not his fault. He is a really quite good submission artist. He's had a bunch of submissions also on the regional scene. Has a really good guillotine. Probably over relies on it at this level. If he goes to it here, that's going to be a gift to Elkins because it's hard to guillotine Elkins. And then last time out, Levitt showed a bit of a hole in his game, which is he can get out wrestled at times, and he can be a little bit too willing to be on his back. But Levitt's underrated. I think he gets like a bad rap because people think he's a bit sus, which is totally unfair. I think he's a talented guy and a good wrestler, and that I think that was a good learning experience for Daval. And here he's minus 700. Elkins is plus 425. Elkins hasn't fought for 14 months now. He got knocked out by Erosa in April of last year, and it was bad. And Erosa is not good.
Yeah.
And I just, this is going to be Darren's retirement fight. He wants to keep standing. He wants to stay alive so bad, but he's just taken too much. That's why, despite the weirdness around Daval, despite the fact that he could be an idiot and jump guillotine, which would be the biggest gift to Elkins because hard to guillotine Elkins. He's really good at defending that. The fact that Elkins can wrestle, but he's not going to be able to hold down Daval. I just feel like this is a good spot where Daval is a younger fighter. I love the under. I think it did get juiced a bit. It was at, I think it was at like minus two, minus like 185 maybe when it came out. Now it's at minus 238 on the under 2.5. I really like that. I can't see Elkins lasting for that long here. Duvall by TKO is minus 105. I think what he'll realize at a point, if he's done any game planning with his coaches and learned anything from the last fight, is it's really hard to submit Elkins. It's really easy to punch him in the face. So just stay standing, punch him in the face. Unfortunately, I think, Elkins will take off the gloves after the fight, and this is it for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be. He's done so much in terms of entertainment, but he's also done a lot in terms of brain damage. So it's it's time. It would be cool to see him go out on a win, but not likely, and not going to benefit people's parlays. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So this will be a good sayonara for Darren Elkins. Our co-main event. Now, we talked a little about him earlier. Diego Ferreira against Billy Quarantillo. And, no, unrelated to picking the fight, but my buddy Theron's been working a lot with Billy. And I know they've been really putting the work in. So I'm hoping to see some good stuff out of Billy. He looked good against Cub until he got caught.
Yep.
He's lost to some really good guys. I remember when he first got in off Contender Series, I was very high on him. And, it's sad to see. I guess he just didn't have the chin for this. So, we'll see, man. Diego hits hard. He got great jiu-jitsu. Also coming off of 2 losses. This is, I don't know. For me, I would say this is almost a 50-50, but I'd lean towards Diego. How do you see this one?
And pretty much exact same perspective there. Billy Q he used to do this thing where it was like if he got to the late second, third round, just be ready. He was gonna lay it on you, and he really had just this unbelievable ability to come back in different fights. These are 2 old guys though at this point. I mean, Diego is 41. Billy's getting up there in age, but Billy's still the younger one in this fight. And I'll lean Diego. I'm probably not touching this bet mainly from a bet perspective, other than one thing that's caught my eyes for parlays, which is this fight to start round 2 is minus 255. I don't really, and if you put that in context, that's pretty much betting Tainara to win, is betting this fight to start round 2.
Yeah.
I don't really see, I mean, unless these guys' chins are just completely gone, I don't see one of them getting iced in the first round. That just feels unlikely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I almost feel that if we see someone go out first round, it's going to be Diego putting out. I mean, honestly, I could see this one finishing in the first round. I hate to say it. I think Diego has a good chance of getting the knockout or submission first round, but I don't really see Billy's first round threat as much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah.
I agree. I agree with you there. If anybody is putting him out first round, it's Diego. I just think 2 old guys generally, start off a bit slower. But I hear that if it's going to be anybody to finish first round, it would be Diego.
Yeah, and it's funny because they're both coming off knockouts, so we could almost see a Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker situation, just afraid of touching each other. Man, and that brings us to our main event: Mateusz Gamrot, Quillen Salkilld. This is This is a matchup that I feel similar to that Navajo and Yan. I feel like this is such a jump up, and maybe I'm overreacting if that's what you want to call it. But after after seeing Quillen's, I know he won in round one, but we did see Quillen's holes against Dariush,
Yeah.
and I feel like Matus is gonna fully take advantage of that. Unless your name's Charles Oliveira, Dan Hooker, Matus has kind of been hard to figure out. And I don't know if Quillen's going to be the guy to also figure it out.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, this is the most polarizing fight. I'm actually happy to hear you're on the same side as me. I feel like whoever you talk to, they're like, "Oh, you're an idiot if you choose Gamrot. Salkild's gonna kill him. Salkild's the future." And then everybody on the other side's, you know, "Oh, Salkild not as good as you think he is. Gamrot's gonna kill him." And no in between. And when that happens, I take a little bit of a step back. But I have been so on the other side of Salkhill pretty continuously. I don't think he's that good. I mean, when he fought, I'm thinking of like one of the first. So he comes from the UFC. He knocks out that Indian fighter. I forget his name. In like 10 seconds.
HL Jabli?
Yeah, yeah. And then he fights Ashmush and kind of just out wrestles him, but he gets outstruck. So okay, you're like, okay, he has good offensive wrestling here. He didn't have great defensive wrestling. Um, Showed some suspect takedown defense, but he turned it on through offensive wrestling in that fight to counter Armush, who was outstriking him for parts of the fight. Then he goes and fights Nazrat. And that's like the famous John Anik talking about the bakery.
The bakery.
Yeah, yeah. Well, but look, he knocks him out in 2.5 minutes. Those first 2.5 minutes, Nazarat's piecing him up. He's hitting him with leg kicks. He's hitting him with jabs. Nazarat had such great distance management. Then I think there was a late pullout that put him against Jamie Malarkey. And in that first round, Jamie Malarkey goes out and out wrestles him at a point, takes him down. Now, Salkhill reverses the position, ends up with submission, sure, but does get taken down. And then the Benil fight, you see more of the holes, but Benil has no chin anymore. We saw it against BSD, got touched once down. Unfortunate for Benil. He's on the other side now. I just can't get over every single one of those fights. And Gamrot came into his last fights against Ribovic as an underdog and fucking or maybe it wasn't an underdog. It was pretty close to even money. Dominated him. Just absolutely ragdolled him, submitted him, made it no contest at all. And just reminded us hey, Gamrot's not that old. And nobody's ever really put him out. Even in the Hooker fight, I had Gamrot winning that fight. I did not have Hooker winning that fight. Only guy that has made Gamrot look bad is Charles Oliveira. And how do you make him look bad? He out-grappled him because Oliveira is that slick in the submission game. I don't get how Gamrot is an underdog here. I think this is a gift. I think you have to be all over this. This is get it in now. I don't know how this line is going to change. I'm really confident that Gamrot's going to do this, but I'm also very ready to look like a fool if I'm wrong and Salkhill. Because Salkhill in all of these fights, he keeps getting finishes. He finds an electric moment. And Gamrot, I don't think he's going to find an electric moment. I think he's going to grind out parts of this. Do I think Salkhill is going to look helpless on the ground? I think it's within the range of outcomes. I don't think he's going to look like Ribovic, that's for sure. But I think, could he get taken down a bunch? Yeah, I think. Could he get held down? For times, I think he could. I think he might accept bottom position too much. And so, I see Gamrot just being too much, particularly as it gets later and later on in the fight. We'll also be interested to see Gamrot's takedown line because he could like really stack it up potentially. But I got Gamrot. Gamrot by decision is my prediction.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. That's. I mean, I say hell yeah. Listen. Personally, I love the character of Quillen Salkilld. I love Inventor of Sex, all that. He is hilarious. But I gotta say, when it comes to looking at, I mean, just his last three, but when I see Nasrat, Jamie Malarkey, and Beneil Dariush in a row, I don't know if I've ever seen a worse lineup of cans. That's probably one of the easiest routes you could have. Especially Nasrat, Jamie Malarkey, Beneil. There was one point where you could argue he was a tough dude, but this day and age, man, you're beating a 2026 Beneil Dariush. I mean, if I told you I went and beat up my grandmother, I think it's the same thing, So I don't know. Listen, I love Quillen. I just don't. Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I think he's going to probably get taken down, held down, and maybe even subbed. But yeah, Gamrot being the underdog, that's definitely the place to put the money.
Yeah, and maybe I mean I do think the UFC might not want to make the fight next. But if Gamrot wins and wins convincingly, given how weird the top of the division is, given maybe Usman wants to fight quickly, I don't know when Ramadan is next year, but in terms of how it might line up, it might make sense for Usman's first fight to be like January against Gamrot if Gamrot wins. It's not a particularly exciting opener for Usman, but it would be a spot where it would be a really good matchup for Usman. And I think he'd be able to show off a little bit in that fight.
Yeah, well, and with these Bellator fighters coming into the UFC, we've not really seen anyone do that well at all. So, with all the expectations around Usman, this would be kind of almost the biggest. I would say it is the biggest. I would say this is bigger than Kayla Harrison. Like, the biggest expectations on a fighter coming into the UFC.
Yeah, though, technically, if you take PFL and you go back in time to World Series fighting, the current champion at 155 came from that organization, right? Gaethje came in through that path. So I was trying to actually think through that, Lucas, like, who has been the most successful from the combination of PFL and Bellator and World Series of Fighting in the UFC. And I guess the two people that come to mind are Kayla Harrison and Justin Gaethje, right?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody else has won the title, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, not that. Yeah,
Eddie Alvarez, I guess Eddie Alvarez won the title. I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head from Bellator, PFL, or World Series of Fighting that won the title.
Yeah. I mean, those are, the important ones. That's for sure. But yeah, man, this will be a fun card. Hopefully, we had all the fireworks last weekend, so I can't expect lightning strikes twice in a row. But I'm excited to see some of these matchups, see how everything plays out. I will ask, if you had to give us a 3-leg money line parlay, who are you taking?
Yeah. 3 legs. And it's going to be juicy because there's going to be a plus money on this. We're going to put Gamrot in there. We're going to go Ty Miller. Do I have to go money line or could I go round lines?
No, you should go around line. Yeah.
I'll throw a round line in there. Round line will be give me the under 2.5 on Yadier Duvall versus Elkins.
Under 2.5 on that one. Okay.
Under 2.5 on that. Ty Miller, Gamrot. Wonder what that pays out. That would be. Let's do this real quick on my end. That would currently pay out plus 283.
And that which
That's on DK. On DK.
for Gamrot money line, Ty Miller money line,
And Duvall, Elkins under 2.5.
oh, okay, the wrong one. Yeah, plus 283. So that you're basically tripling your money there. Yeah. Shit. Damn, that's all right. That's sick. And now, if you had more of a long shot, like a two-legger for us.
Yeah, I mean, so in terms of the slam of the week, the early read that I mentioned before was the Ty Miller, and the under 2.5 on the Duvall Elkins fight. That I got in for even money. But in terms of the long shot, Richie Miranda was that long shot to look at.
Yeah.
At plus 205. I think something else that you could probably experiment with. If I like the fight to go a bit longer, Billy Q round 3 or by decision is interesting. It's intriguing at plus 400. Something to keep your eye on. I don't think I'm going to bet that, Lucas. I think the Richie Miranda is more in my wheelhouse in terms of what I would look at. If I'm looking at like a winning method, let me just take a quick look at, I mean, some of them aren't out just yet, but I would probably take a good look at, let's see here. I mean, Gamrot by decision is plus 250. Yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily have like a good long shot beyond the couple that I suggested there. So Richie Miranda.
Honestly,
Richie Miranda by decision, when that comes out, that could be interesting. And then maybe you want to throw the Billy Q round 3 or decision, but I don't love it. But the 4-1 is an interesting value.
I'd be interested in doing, or at least seeing the odds when it comes out, but Richie Miranda decision and Gamrot decision. Parlaying the two of them.
Yeah.
If parlaying moneyline Richie with Gamrot decision right now is already a plus 1,002. So.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, you probably could get that up on two decision bets all the way up to, I was probably going to be in the ballpark of like 17-1. The one thing on both of those fights, because they kind of could have like a similar structure to them, the longer that fight goes on, the better. But it could be a situation where there could be late finishes in the works.
Yeah. So Richie by decision or sub might be the play.
Yeah. Definitely possible for sure.
Awesome, dude. Well, this is gonna be sick, man. This is just seeing the way that the division's playing out. I love the space in between the big cards because, without all this, the big cards wouldn't matter. So,
totally.
This is
totally agree.
This is where you catch those crazy knockouts that people are showing the highlights of forever for this one guy. We're getting the new prospects now. I love it, man. It's hopefully this card's a solid 6 out of 10.
Exactly, and then 2 weeks from now, the big. Next week's the big one. But at the same time, you need these types of cards to fill the space, and it's a good main event.
Yeah, and it's cool because they try and they try and throw on the prelims like bigger name guys, or not even bigger name guys, but some of the more up and coming fan favorites. Like we had Tommy McMillan, and with this one we have Steve Asplin, and there was the one card we have Walter Walker. Like they're giving us the fan favorites earlier in the cards, on these little spaced out fight nights. So we're still getting some entertainment, even if the potential is lacking.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, man, this has been great. Thank you so much for coming on and talking.
It's been awesome.
This,
Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we'll see how everything plays out, and I'll be talking to you soon, my brother.
Much love, man. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Thank you for listening, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and we will be back next week. Have a good one.